Hello everyone, it's Professor Noor with a new video regarding performing calculations with formulas and functions. So in this exercise, I'm gonna be showing you how to translate an equation into a function, how to calculate dates and times, how to extend the date and formulas with the autofill, how to use the function library, how to calculate the stats in Excel, how to use the quick analysis tools, how to use absolute cell references, how to use the logical function, how to retrieve the data with lookup table, and finally, I will teach you how to use the goal seek. So let's start. I have already opened Excel with the file I need. So the first thing is we have to go, if you see here, we have a bunch of tabs with different worksheet. So we're gonna go with the call center log, and then we will go to the staffing calculator and the support calculator. So for this, we will be using this exercise for today to show us the different formulas, to show us how to use formulas in Excel. So the first thing is we have to go to the call center worksheet, click on it, and you see that I have this. We have to find, or we have to type the values. We have to find the formula here. We have to use formula here, and so on. And then we have to use formula here in all these empty cells, all right? So let's start. The first thing is that we gonna use what we call is that we have to use a constants and units. So in Excel, it has the ability to translate the equation into Excel formula. So some equation use constants, which are terms in equation whose value don't change. The constant value doesn't change, right? So in this case, you will see that once I get the formula done here, and then I have to convert it into 24 hours in a day, and then 60 minutes in each hours and 60 seconds in each minutes. So to do that, let's start adding the formulas. So the first thing we need to do is to calculate the first customer hold time and the call duration. The hold time in H5, and then the duration is J5. So we have to go to H5, and you always remember to start the formula, you have to start with equal G5, which is the call answered, minus F5, which is the call placed. Now press the enter key. It says 12:05 is the hold time. Now the time value 12 appears in the cell H5. Next, now we will go to J5, and we're gonna type the formula equal I5 minus G5. So in this case, we're gonna do the call completed minus the call answered. Now press the enter key. It said 12:20:37 a.m. Right? So the next thing is to convert the first customer hold time and the call duration to seconds and minutes. So we need to convert this time that we received here into seconds and minutes. So to do that, we have to go back to H5. You will have to double click the formula. Before after the equal sign, you will start adding a parenthesis like this, and then multiply by 24, multiply by 60, multiply by 60. Now the 24 that I typed here is the 24 hours in a day, and the 60 minutes in each hours, and 60 seconds in each minutes. Now you have to press the enter key. Now it says 12 a.m. Now we have to do the same thing here. So here we're gonna we will change the formula. So double click it. Before the equal sign, you have to add the parenthesis, and then multiply by 24, multiply by 60. So to multiply the call duration by the number of minutes in one day, and then we have to press the enter key. Now, the next thing is we have to change the data type from, if you look here, it says in the number group, it says custom. We have to change it to general. It's 5 the whole time. And then this one, I will go back here. I will change it to general. So the value 5 and 20.6 appears in the cell, indicating that the first customer was on hold for 5 seconds with a call length of 20 minutes plus a fraction of minutes, right? Now we have to use the autofill to extend the formula into cell H5. So you will go back to H5, hold the square box here, and drag it all the way to 515 record I have. So let's get it done. Here you go. When you did that, as you notice, the formation disappeared. It has to be white and orange, right? So go here in this small icon that says auto fill option. Click the small down arrow and click on the second option, the second last option, fill without formatting, fill without. So check this box. As you see, we get back the white and orange. Now we have to go back to the J5, hold the autofill to fill the rest of the cell all the way to 515. There you go. Now you're gonna do the same thing. You will click the autofill option icon, and you will click the second last option, fill without formatting. So that is done. Now, the next thing is we have to add the case number. If you see here, I don't have any case number, right? So we're gonna go to E5, and we're gonna start with case 50127. All right, and then press the enter key, go back and fill it down. Hold the fill handle and all the way to 515. Now you have to change the formation. You will click the small autofill icon, and then you will click on fill without formatting. So that one is done. Next, now we have to round. If you look at this here, we have to round these big numbers, right? With the help of the function round. So the round function rounds the value to the nearest digit, right? So the round has only two arguments, or you can say two properties, like round, the function name, then open parentheses, then you have to provide the number that you wanna round, and then comma, and then the next will be, the argument would be number of digits. You can say number of digit 2, 0, and so on. So that's the way that we use the round, then number, comma, and then the number of digits, right? So now for this one, we have to use the function round. That's the first of the function we have to use today. Now, to do that, we have to delete J5. We have to delete it. And then we have to go to insert. You see where the insert function, the fx is? You will click on it. It's gonna open the insert function. And then you will click the middle box. And then you will have to look for stats, right? And then look for round. So press the R. So it's not under stats. It could be financial. Now check it out. Otherwise, what we're gonna do, we could say all. All means show me all the function in Excel, right? Now you can write, you can press R until you see round. So that's the best way. Just go in the middle, say all. Once you get the all function, then look for the function you are looking at. So it's round. So click, once you select it, click OK. Now here it says what you want to round. So what we want to round here is, you will open a parenthesis and then I5, let me capitalize, I5 minus G5, that's the number that we wanna round, multiply by 24, multiply by 60. That was the previous formula that we put there, right? And then the number of digits, we want 0. So just I want 20 instead of 20 point something, we need 20, right? Or we want just 28, 9, something like that, without having any number of digits. So after that, you will have to click OK. As you see now, I don't have the decimal places. Now you have to hold this to copy the formula to the rest of the column. So you will hold the fill handle. As you get close, it's going to slow down. Now you will click the autofill icon, and then you will click on fill without formatting. Now everything look perfect. You rounded the values. Next now, we have to find, we have to calculate the minimums and the maximums. The minimums and the maximum. I have discussed the minimum and the maximum in my previous videos. So to find the minimum from a specific range of column, we use the minimum and the maximum to find what's the minimum value and what's the maximum maximum value from the specific range. So to use the min and the max function to return the time of the first and the last call. So let's go to B5 and then we will go to the formulas. I can use the fx. We have to go to formulas and then we will go to more and then stats and then look for minimum. All right. And then number one, it says which of the first is your number that you want to find the minimum from. So we want to find from the column F all the way F. So everything that in F, we have to find what's the minimum value. Now click OK. And then the function returns 0.3333, which is the numeric value of the minimum time value in column F. Now we will change this to a time. So go back to the home tab, go to the number group. Let's go to general and change it to time. So 8 o'clock. So the value displayed in P5 changes to 8 a.m., the time of the first call. So let's go to now B6, and we're gonna find the last call of the day, which is we have to use the maximum, right? Now I can use the maximum minimum from here too. So you can go to the auto, and then you can use maximum minimum, right? So the other way is you can go from here, FX, and then under the stats, you will look for maximum. See max, as I typed M, it takes me to max. Now click OK. Now here you're gonna say we wanna find the maximum value, which is the highest from the column F colon F, and click OK. And click OK. Now we have to change this. So we're gonna go to the number group again. We will click on time. So the last call that we had was 5:59:49, indicate that the last call was placed just before the call center closed. All right. Now the next is we have to calculate the total call center hours, calls, and calls per hours. So let's go to B7. We have to start with equal, open a parenthesis, B6 minus B5, close the parenthesis, multiply by 24. So this is to calculate the difference between the last call and the first call. So if you get the hash or the number sign, just go to the right of the column B and double click to stretch it. All right. Now you can go back here and then you will go back you will go back and change it to number. All right. So what we will do is that in B7, we will go back to the number group. We will change it to number. So 10. Now next, we will find the total calls. The formula for the total calls is that we have to use the count function. We have to use what? The count. That's another function to count for you. Suppose if I have 515, right? So we want to count like how many whole time we have or how many duration values that we have. So it's gonna count for you whatever column you ask for. So to do that, we have to go here because we want to find the total for B8. So you will start with equal, and then you're going to type the formula, the function count, COU. So you see the first one under the shortcut menu. Under the shortcut, you see the first one is count, so double click it. In the right of the parentheses, and you see the argument in dark, value 1. What's your value 1? So my value is column F all the way to F, and close the parentheses. As you see that the column F has been selected. So push the enter key. It says you had 511 call were placed during the day. Now the next one is B9. B9 is to calculate the number of calls per hours. So equal B8 divided by B7. So you get 51, right? To indicate that the call center received more than 51 calls every hours. So you can shrink it down the decimal. So you can go and then you can say 2 decimal place. Select the B9 and go to the number group and decrease and increase decimal. So you can go here, right? And then you can also change it from here. You can go here and say number and see here it says 51.12. So instead of decreasing the or increasing the decimal, you can just go to the number data type and just change it to the number to the value to the number. Next. Now the next is we have to calculate the average, the median, the mode hold times. So in Excel, we have something called central tendency. So central tendency is a single measurement from a data series that returns the most typical or the central data value. So there are several measures of the central tendency. So we have the average is one of it, the average. Then we have the median. And then we have the mode. All right. So we're gonna use these three central tendency measurement to find the single measurement from a data series that returns the most typical or central data values, right? So let's see how we're gonna do that. So we're gonna go to B12, right? In B12, now I can go to the FX, and then I can go in the middle here and I can find stats, and then we want average. So average is the second. So select and okay. Now it says what the average you wanna find from, which column. So the column we wanna find the average is H colon H. And then click OK. All right. So the cell displayed 27.47, indicating that the average time spent on hold about 27.5 seconds. Now we will go to B13, and then we will use the median. You see here, we have to find the median hold time. So what's a median is? The median function is the central value of a data series so that the half of the values are less than the median and half are greater. So we will actually, we want to pick the middle, the highest and the lowest, the greater and the less than, so in between. So again, the median is the central value of the data series so that half of the values are less than the median and half are greater. So to do that, you will start with, you will go back to the FX. You will go to the stats, and then you will find median now. So you will press M, not here, sorry. You will click here and M until you see median. Here is the median. And you want to find it from H colon H, and then click OK. So it's 26. Now B14. B14 is the common hold time. Now we have to use the mode. So the mode is the value repeated most often in the data series. We want to check out which is the value is being repeated the most in the data series. Then you will use the mode. So the mode is of two kinds, a single and a multi. So we're going to use the mode single, which is going to return a single value representing the mode from the data series. So to do that, we will go back to the FX. We are already in the stats. Just we have to find again M, press the M until you see mode. You see I have two kind of mode multi and mode single. So you have to be focusing on mode single because we want to return a single value, and then click OK. Now we want to find the mode from the column H. So is 28. Now we're gonna find the minimum and the maximum. We wanna, the shortest means the min, the minimum, and the longest means we have to use the maximum function. So to do that, we will go back to the FX. We're gonna type, we will press M and we want the min, click OK. Now here we want to find the min from column H to H. Is 1. So the shortest hold time was 1 second. Now we want to find the maximum hold time. So we're going to go back to the FX. We already in the stats, category stats. Now click inside them, press the M to find us the max. Now max mean maximum. We want to find the max from the column H. And then click OK. So 163. So the longest hold time was 163 seconds. Now the next is we have to find the average duration, the median duration, common duration, shortest duration for the call durations. So we're gonna calculate the typical length of the support conversations. So in B19, you will start with equal AV. The second one is average, double click it. And then you will tap J colon J, close the parentheses and enter. So you got almost 15.68888, right? So the next, now we will go to the median. So you could use equal ME. The moment you tap ME, you will see the median function, double click it. So the first argument is what's your first number that you want to find the median from. So is column J, colon J, close the parentheses, enter. It's the DIN. Now we're gonna find the mode for the common duration in B21. So equal, you will say MO. So the moment you tapped MO from the shortcut, you will see here the menu, the shortcut menu is gonna display mode multi or mode single. So we're gonna go with the mode single. And then we're gonna add J colon J and press the enter key. It's 7. Now in B22, the shortest and the longer, that we have to use the minimum and the maximum. So equal min, and then we're gonna say from J column to J. So the last conversation. So let me try again this one. So I don't have any one. So the minimum I have is 0. Let's go back here. Let's go to the FX and let's find min. Double click it. And then we're gonna say J click OK. So there's gonna be in the list, there is a 0 somewhere. That's why speaking the minimum is 0. So let's take the maximum. So equal max. So double click the maximum, type J colon and push the enter key. 72. Now, the next we want to do is to calculate and round the total operator time and the operator time per hour. So let's go to B24. And then what we're gonna do is that we're gonna start with equal. So we're gonna calculate and round the total operated time and the operated time per hour. So start with equal, round. So double click the round. Then within the round, you will start the sum function. So double click the sum. And then you will sum everything in J column. Close the parentheses. Divided by 60 is to convert the sum of the values in the column J from minute to hours. Then comma, the number of digits for the round, 0. Now close the parentheses. Push the enter key. So you got 134. Now the next one, B25, the workload per hours. So equal, round, double click the round function. B24 divided by B7, comma, 1. Number of digit you want, 1. So to divide the total operator time in a cell B24 by the number of hours the call center was open in B7 and round the total to the nearest tenth of an hour. Now press and close the parentheses. So you got 13.4. Now the next one is to enter the current date. So we have to go to the worksheet documentation. Now in B4, you're gonna type equal today. Double click the today and close the parentheses and push the enter key. All right. Now, the next thing is if you go back to the call center worksheet. Now, suppose mistakenly, I want to show you how to create an error value. Suppose that mistakenly you did wrong and what error you could see. Suppose in B7, if I delete the 10, for example, see, I get the error saying dividing by 0. And then I'm also getting 1 here because the B7 was involved in this formula, right? So the def divided by 0 indicating that the formulas in those cells contain expression in which a value is divided by 0, right? So if you delete anything else, also you're gonna get the same results, right? So let me change it back to what it was. And also you're gonna get the green arrow here. So if you click on it, and you will get this yellow, click on it, and you have a lot of solution about the error that you got. So I will go back, I will undo what I did. Now the next thing we want to do is to calculating the running total with the quick analysis tool. The quick analysis tool appears when you select a range of cells, providing an easy access to the most common tools for data analysis, chat, and data formatting. It is excellent tool for doing useful calculations and entering Excel function. So in this case, we will select J5 all the way to J515. And then you see here, once I selected, I got the icon, quick analysis, click on it. And then click for me the third tab, which is totals. And then click on this arrow for more. So click the arrow. And then there is two running. We need this one. The last icon in the list. The running total of the call duration is added to the adjacent range, which is K5 to K515. So click on it. As you see, the values has been added. This is how to create a running total using the quick analysis tool. Now we need to remove the bold face from the cells. So select the K5 and highlight it all the way again to 515. When you get closer, you will see you're gonna be slowing down. Now go back to the home tab, the B, take it off. So we don't want bold face. Now next is we have to use the absolute cell references. An absolute cell reference remain fixed even when a formula or function is copied. If you want a cell to remain fixed, or a formula or a function is copied to a new location, right? So then you will have to make that cell to be absolute so that when you're gonna copy the formula, now that is not gonna change. The value will remain constant. It's gonna remain fixed, right? So to do that, now we have to go to B28 and we're gonna type 15. And then we will go to L5, which is the second overhaul time goal. So what we want to do now, for example, if you say without using the absolute, so see what's going to happen, because always Excel is relative to the cell. So equal H5 minus B28, right? Now always the first will be right. So you get negative, right? Now I will copy for a few cells. See what I get. I get 10, the same 10 here. I got 8, 4, 13. So let me show you how you get 10. You see Excel move down. Now, if I want to see how I get 13, see what Excel did. It keep on going down because you have used 15. Excel assumes that you have something below 15. That's what you want to use when you copy the formula. So the thing is, to solve this issue, we have to use 15, but I don't want Excel to keep on moving to the empty cell. I want Excel to remain fixed while I will copy the 15 throughout the other cells. All right. So let's see how we're going to do that. So you're going to start with equal. You will say H5. H5 is the whole time minus B28. Now, to make the B28, you have to press F4, the function key F4. Every laptop computer they do have. So F4 is to make your cell absolute, right? So press the F4. So B28, F4. As you notice that the B28, because this is the guy we wanna, the B28 is the cell we wanna fix it. So when I copy the formula, the B28 is not gonna move down. It's gonna stick with B28, which is 15, right? So now push the enter key or press the enter key. Now go back and fill it down for the rest of the cell. Now you will do the same thing. You will click the small icon for the autofill. And then you will click the second last fill without formatting. Great. Next, we have to use the if condition now. So let's go to the M5, which is the KPI, which is the key performance indicator. To find the key performance indicator. So for this one, we will say we could do logical. We can go to the FX and then you will click the middle box here and then look for logical, the category logical. Now you see the if is here, click on it and click OK. So if, what's your logical? If what? If L5 is greater 0, then what? If it's true, if L5 is greater than 0, then give it 1. Otherwise, if it's false, give it 0, right? So click OK. So the first one I got is 0. Why? Because L5 is not greater 0, is in negative, you see, -10. So that's why you got 0. So L5 is not greater 0. So fill it down. Now click on the small icon here, change it to fill without formatting. As you see, I get 0 zeros and then I get 1. So the one with negative, they will get 0. The one without, they will be 1 because they are greater than 0, all right? So if I show you the formula, if you double click it, equal if L5 greater 0, then give it 1, otherwise 0. So press escape to get out of the formula. Next is now to find the number of failed calls in B29. So in B21, you will start with equal sum, and then you will say M colon M, all right, and then press the enter key. So now the B29 displays 441, indicating the 441 customer hold time longer than 15 seconds. Now B30, which is hold time failure rate. So you will start with equal B29 divided by B8 and push the enter key. So you had 8630, so go back to B30 and then go to the number group, and then we wanna convert it to a percentage. So percentage. So the cell shows that 86% of the calls failed the 15-second hold time goal, right? Now, the next one is formatting input, calculated, and output values. It is important in your worksheet to identify which cell contain input values for the formula and the function, and which cells contain calculations, and which cell contain primary output only for output values, right? So to do that, we have to switch to the next worksheet. So this time we will be going to the support calculator, this one here. So click on it. Now we have to select B6, B6 all the way to B9, and then we will format these cells as an input. We will have to input the values in here. So you will go to the styles and click the small down black arrow for more. And if you see here, said data and model. So we will click input. Input means that you're gonna input values for the formula and the functions. Now we have to select 10, and we will go back to the style. We will select calculation. Then select for me 13 all the way to 15. This also will be calculation. Now select B18 all the way to B21, and this will be, go back to the style group under the ribbon, and this will be output style. All right. Now in B6 you will tap 50. These are the input. Now we are inputting the values in each of these cells. In B7 you will tap 14. We will type 15. We will tap 16. Now in B10 we have to type the formula. So equal B9 divided by 60. So to calculate the average call duration in hours, that will give us 0.27 hours. Now go to the workload per hours, equal B6. This one is to calculate the number of operator hour required each hour to handle the call traffic. So B6 multiplied by B10. Then B14, we will say equal B13 divided by B7. This one is to calculate the anticipated percentage of operator who will be occupied with calls at any one time. So at the current workload, 95.24% of the operator will be occupied. Now, operator free. This one is to display the percentage of operator who will be free at any one time. So equal 1 minus B14. So 4.76% of the operator will be free. Now the next one is that lookup data. So we have another function that is called VLOOKUP, vertical lookup. So the VLOOKUP has 3 attributes. So it's gonna ask you to give the lookup value, the value that you are looking at, comma, is gonna be the table array, the table array, and then comma, the column index number. Which column? Column index number, right? So a lookup function retrieves the value matching specified condition from a table of data. A lookup function retrieves a value matching specified condition from a table of data. So in this case, we're gonna be using the VLOOKUP, right? So the VLOOKUP is to look for the value from the table array and in which column, and then you will get the results. The VLOOKUP is like if condition, is the shortest version of the if condition. So let's apply the lookup. And in this case, we're gonna use the VLOOKUP. So we are in B18. So actually this is the table. This will be the table of array. It's gonna start from E5 all the way to H32. So that's your table array actually. So you're gonna start with where the lookup is, right? So you will go back to the fx, or you can go to the formulas. You will see here the lookup and references under the function library. Lookup and references. And then you will look for the last one says VLOOKUP. Look for the value in the leftmost column of a table. And then return the value in the same row from the column you specify. So click on it. So what's your lookup value? So the B7 is to reference the number of operators entered in B7. So my lookup value is in B7. B7, and you need to make the B7 absolute. So press F4. Press F4 to make it absolute. What's your table array? Your table array, as I said, is this one here. This is your table array. So you need to type here from where to where. So you will say is from E5, make it absolute F4, colon, to what? H32, make it absolute, all right? And then in the column index, we will type 2 to return the matching value from the lookup table, the second column, right? Then in the range lookup, we have two values you can specify. You can, if you wanna get exact match lookup, then you will say true, or you will say exact match means F. And if you want an approximate match lookup, then you will say true. So for exact match lookup, you will type here false. Now click OK. So 80%, right? Let's go to B9, 19. Now you can also do like this. You can say equal VL, so double click it. I'm showing you how to access the function in multiple ways. So then you will tap B7, make it absolute. So press F4, then comma. So look now here, the arguments. The next now in dark is the table array. So you need to provide the table array. Your table array start from E5, make it absolute F4, colon, H32, make it absolute, comma, comma. Now we are looking for column number 3, which is this column. And then comma, you see, for true is approximate match, and for false is exact match. So we're gonna say false. And then close the parenthesis and push the enter key. Now Excel returns the value of 1156 and 63, indicate the expecting hold time is 1156 and 63 seconds. B20 is equal B19 divided by 60 to convert the expected hold time to minutes. So that's 1928 minutes. Now hold time failure rate, B21. We're gonna use the VLOOKUP again. VL, double click it. The first argument is, what is your lookup value? B7 in this case, the available operators. Make it absolute, so press F4, comma. Now the next is table array, E5, press F4, colon, H32. So that's the whole table array. As you see, the table has been selected. Make the H32 absolute. So push the F4, comma, the column index. Which column now? Number 4, failure rate. This one. I'm using this column now. So 4, comma. Now we need exact match. So double click the false. And then close the parenthesis and push the enter key. So 79, right, is approximately 80. Almost 80% of the customer will be on hold longer than the hold time goal of 15 seconds entered in B8. All right. Now The next one is you can use the trial and error. If you can convert the values, if you want to change the values to change the scenario, so everything accordingly is gonna change. So if you go to B9, this will change obviously. All right. So you can change the values. If you change the values, then obviously everything will change. So let's say if I'm in B9, duration is 11. If I make it as if it was 16, so if I change it to 11, so everything will change accordingly. If I change it to 16, the call duration in B9, you see the table change also, and all your values change accordingly. So if we go to B7 and change these to 25, all right, and then we have 15 and 16, and you see the revised prediction, this one here. See, these are the revised prediction for the call center after you added 25 number of operators set for 25, this one here. Now to calculate the shrinkage factor, first we have to calculate the total hours a typical operator works. So let's go to the next sheet, which is the staffing calculator. In B25, first we have to calculate the total hours a typical operators works. So B9, we're gonna say equal B5 multiplied by B6 minus B7. B5 multiply by B6 minus B7. This is to calculate the total working days per year, less days in which the call center is closed for holidays. The formula written 253.5 indicate the call center is open 253.5 days per year. Now in B10, we have to start equal B9 multiplied by B8. B9 multiplied by B8. So indicating that the call center is open 2028 hours per year. Now let's get to B15 equal, open a parenthesis, B13 plus B14, close the parenthesis, multiply by B8. 160, indicating that 160 working hours will be lost to vacation and sick leave. All right. Now B20 equal B9 multiply, open a parenthesis, B18 plus B19. So indicating that the 573.75 hours would be lost per year to duties that do not involve answering customer calls. Now the next, calculate the staff shrinkage. So we in B23, we're gonna type 23 operator on calls, 25. enter, and then total hour loss per year is to add the total hour loss each year to the absence to the total hour loss to daily task. So equal B15 plus B20. So 730.375 hours will be lost each year to things not involved with the answering customer calls. Next, B25, the formula is equal B24 divided by B10. To divide the total hour loss by the total hours the call center will be open. We get 36, indicated 36% of the available hours will not be spent on answering customer calls. Now, the last one is the operator on staff. So equal B23 divided, open a parenthesis, 1 minus B23. Close the parenthesis, press the enter key. So let me do it again, this one. So B24 by B25, I did 25. So 37.07 or 40 employees to cover the call center at the desired level of efficiency. So at least you need 40 employees to cover the desired level of efficiency. Now using goal seek, one of the great command in Excel, goal seek. Goal seek reverses the trial and error process by specifying an output value and working backward to find the input value needed to reach that goal. The output is always calculated value and the input is always a constant that can be changed using the goal seek tool. So let's do the goal seek. Now, what we want to do here is that we to use the goal seek to set the staff size to 30. To set the staff size to 30 employees. So obviously we have to be in B26 instead of being 39 or 40 staff you need, we want to set it to 30, right? That's my aim, to change it to 30. So to do that, we will go to the data, and then from the data, if you look at the second last group that says forecast, click on what if analysis, and then go to goal seek, and goal seek will open this dialog box. Set cell, which cell you want to set it. I'm already in B26, that's perfect. To value, what value you want to change the B26 to? I want to change it to 30. Right now it's 3907, right? And then by changing cell, which cell you want to change to achieve the goal? By changing B23, which is the 25 operator on call. So click on this and then click OK. Now you achieve your goal. You achieve your goal of 30 employees by changing B23 So B 22 to 19.195636 and the value in the cell B 22 to 30, right? Now click OK. Now to calculate the performance of 19 operators, so let's go to the support calculator and let's go to B7 and change this to 19 and then click enter and you see that the result shows that 10.33% of the customer will probably wait on hold in cell B18 for 17.51 seconds. So save your workbook, hit the floppy. Now you have to close your workbook, and that ends my lesson for performing calculations with formulas and functions. I hope you have learned a lot from this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to subscribe the channel and also be sure to put your comments. Everything will be appreciated. Thank you. Have a nice day.